Good morning, beautiful souls. This is Jessica with Whispers of Grace Healing. I am here today to bring you a collective message from Spirit. Um, this definitely does confirm a lot of what I have been talking about. I brought my Sacred Rebels Oracle cards with me today so that I could pull some cards in order to confirm some things. Now, yesterday was the full moon, um, partial lunar eclipse, and I noticed the energy was completely out of whack. Um, it's wild how many sensitive people around me noticed the frustration yesterday. It just seemed like there was a lot of things that were just it just seemed chaotic. There were so many things that were coming up that led to some sort of resistance or a sense of being uncomfortable, and it really tested our patience yesterday. Hey Michelle, hey Tanya, beautiful souls, I love you guys, thank y'all for being here. um but it definitely seemed like a lot of it had to do with patience and the natural flow. The moment that we meet resistance, it was like just learning to navigate through the BS. But there was a lot of frustration, there was a lot of overwhelming moments, and it was also a sense of not feeling in control. So that brought up a lot for everyone that was around me yesterday. And it was just like needing to navigate as best as possible. But once I realized it was a full moon and a lunar eclipse, I just went to more of an observant standpoint and started looking at all the things that were coming up. And a lot of it for me personally was, you know, understanding what was coming up for me that was making me feel uncomfortable and meeting resistance, right? Accepting the situation for what it was, and as much as I tried to navigate it, um, it was like just understanding that there was nothing I could do in that moment besides just be, and to lean into a different energy instead of focusing on what was making me uncomfortable, even though it wasn't really that serious. Um, and it's so funny how our brain, like, listen, your mind is so powerful. And the way that my brain went yesterday, it was fucking wild. Um, but it was something that created anxiety, it created fear, it created like a sense of uneasiness for me. And it was one of those moments where I just had to say, there are things that need my attention today and need me to be present, need me to be focused, and I can't let this derail me, right? And so I had to shift my focus to what my priority was for the day. And thankfully, things, they moved along either way, so um it helped me be more present and more conscious of the people I was surrounded by yesterday. And instead of allowing myself to go into the bad mood, the stress, the anxiety, the resistance, I allowed myself to just pull back into me, focus on what it is that I needed to do today, and allow myself to be more present for the connections in my life, right? So the cards that we have pulled today are talking about, a new beginning that's happening. And I know that all of us are feeling it. There's a lot of changes that are happening. within us and around us. And a lot of it has to do with our personal connections. There's a lot that's being tested lately, the last few weeks, up to a month, of where connections are being tested, of whether they are in vibrational alignment with what we are trying to attract and manifest. And it's either going to show you that the relationships in your life have either served their connection and are phasing out, or it is going to strengthen the bond between you and you are going to grow together. So, what we're going to do today is I'm going to read both of the cards that have been pulled, and then we're going to go back and we're going to do the healing process for both, because I feel like we all need it right now. And if you were drawn to this video, you were meant to hear this. So, we're going to start with New Birth, guarded vigilantly, if I could speak today. But this card says, in every creative process, in every birth, in every opening of a new cycle of life, there is a time of vulnerability. This vulnerability is natural and appropriate. It is the full learning to become steady on its legs. Those legs will become remarkably powerful in time, but the process of growth and maturity has to take place, and that requires some wobbly first attempts. It cannot be any other way. You will not always need to cloak that which is young. Soon enough, it will be able to stand up for itself. But for now, your vigilance and care is most certainly required. Hug your ideas to yourself as though they were a new lover you cannot bear to share with another. In time, the world will be the lover receiving the love in your idea. For now, it is for you to love, for you to hold, and for you to observe. Only allow those proven to be trustworthy to support you in this. Those who can handle the frequency or vibration of what you are seeking to nurture. Some may love you, but be frightened of what you are creating. Stay true to yourself and your creative power, and be wise as to whom you invite into your inner sanctum to witness this new life emerging. This oracle also brings particular guidance about keeping your inner sanctuary pure. This may be your room, a sacred place you visit, or your own body into which you retreat into relaxation or meditation. Sometimes you will find that others have taken up residency in your sanctuary. Perhaps an argument that you cannot let go of has another living in your head. A suffering that has not been acknowledged and released can feel like a big old dirty suitcase of emotional baggage cluttering up the temple space of your heart. It is time to focus on the purity, light, love, and compassion that dwells within you. Everything else will come and go, and that is just fine, but the purity within your sanctuary is eternal. You can come back to refresh it, to refresh your spirit and gain resources to help you deal with the rest of the world and even your own darker moments anew. It will give you the peace and spaciousness of mind you need to recognize the new life and to compassionately but firmly denounce any intrusion upon that new life by doubt, fear, or sabotage. Now, what I've been noticing is there's a lot of self-sabotage going on as well, and we need to take accountability for that. One thing that I've noticed is, especially in new connections or developing connections, especially romantic, so many of us still have that heavy emotional baggage because of our rejection, of our abandonment, and of not being accepted, right? And so you can have a beautiful connection in your life and just completely be, in awe of someone standing in front of you, but if one little thing, and I posted it yesterday too, about the difference between um like ego love and heart-based love. And it's so true that when we are in ego, we expect someone that comes into our life to be perfect all the time. If they have a down moment, or if they're, processing in their head and not fully present, then we start doubting, we start questioning, right? And it doesn't matter, like, and this is one thing that I've noticed when it comes to trauma, is the moment that we notice any red flag or any like uh exposure of humanness, we get terrified that this person's going to hurt us. So we start questioning and we start looking for things to, point our finger at, or to blame, or to, you know like question the person's motive, right? So, um, hey Pooja, and good morning. But it's one of those things where, you really have to, I find that the moment you catch yourself like getting wrapped up in emotional drama or baggage and start projecting that on someone who, in all other cases, is real and has good intent and has, like a very big presence in your life, really catch yourself and take accountability for any projections that you have when things start to be normal, right? Like, not everyone, no one's ever going to be 100% all the time. So don't take that one day of being off, or that one moment of being off, and forget everything that is good between y'all, right? Or that one comment that rubbed you the wrong way, and now all of a sudden your perception has changed. Like, when you choose to love somebody, it's not a moment to moment basis. You choose to love that person through the good and the bad, right? And that doesn't mean taking a bunch of bullshit and being a doormat, or, being emotionally, verbally, or physically abused. I am not condoning that whatsoever. But also understand that when someone is trying their hardest to be present for you, to show you that they care for you, or, like, being in the moment for you, if they're not there 100% of the time, don't hold that against them when they are simply being human. Okay? And if something does trigger you, have an open, honest conversation about it, instead of letting your trigger and your fear direct the conversation. That's all I'm asking, right? So just protect your energy at all cost, but at the same time, be open with your vulnerability, because that vulnerability is also going to show you who cares about your emotions, who cares about your well-being, and cares about your wants and needs, right? And if you happen to run into someone who is gaslighting you, that, takes your emotions, or, takes your sensitivity and turns it around on you, right? Like, you have no reason to feel that way, or, I don't want to have this conversation, or, you're being over dramatic, or whatever, you're wrong. That is gaslighting, okay? So be aware of someone using emotional manipulation to turn it in their favor, to get you to, like, ignore what you're feeling and what you're experiencing. But I really feel that the majority of the connections that are coming into your life, if you truly are vulnerable and open with expressing yourself, you're going to find out who truly has the best interest for you. But that takes a lot of courage especially for someone who has been through emotional or physical trauma, to open themselves up like that, right? You need to be the most authentic version of yourself, and you will find who is in a vibrational alignment with that, regardless of who it is. Okay. So, our second card is conscious connections. Okay. And this says, there is a call for more intimacy in your immediate relationships. There is an opening for heart-to-heart communication that can salvage and restore a broken relationship or friendship if you are willing to honor your differences and at look to what unites you. Sometimes it is hard to bear the differences between one another. One person may be willing to live life in high definition, while another may prefer to live it more vicariously, until they have the confidence to step onto the center stage of their own life story. We are not here to judge each other, just to love, to be loved, and to let go of those that cannot accept us when we open up to those who can. This oracle brings guidance for you to trust in the sanctity of the connections in your life. If you have asked to experience a more sacred connection with people who truly get you and want to play life with you rather than at odds with or against you, then this oracle is confirmation that this manifestation is on its way to you now. It may or may not be obvious at first, but kindred spirits are going to enter your life to help you connect with your deeper feelings and creativity. They will give you wings to your inspirational ideas and big dreams. If you have been asking for healing in your current friendships or other immediate relationships, know that this can happen through your willingness to express your true feelings. And allow this situation to either fall apart or to come together, according to the greater workings of life. Sometimes webs that have joined people together are broken, and that is appropriate, as people may outgrow what once held them together. Sometimes the ties that bind us together are so strong that they are able to withstand a great deal of pressure and still remain intact. The webs of connection between us will sever or sustain based on the higher wisdom of life itself. Either way, healing happens in the resolution of our feelings, and we are once again able to feel free, forgive, and be ready to move on to the next stage of relating, either with a person who has been in connection with us for a time or with someone anew. This oracle asks you to remain open to healing connections and to allow people to be close to you. Trust in the process that draws people in and out of your life. Resist nothing and seek wisdom in all. So, you know, this is the one thing too that I really want you to understand. Like, when you are honest with your emotions, it's like it's either going to strengthen your bond or it's going to hinder it, right? And you have to really resolve your own emotions and be comfortable with your own self-expression before someone can actually hear you. If you are trying to communicate in a fear-based mentality, you are going to be met with defense, okay? Because you're already going in with defense. You're going in with fear and resistance. So I feel like a lot of you who are unhappy in your personal connections, first you have to understand happiness is an inside job. Okay, it starts within and it radiates out. When you start to raise your frequency, you will notice that people will start being pulled out of your life because that bond that held you together is no longer intact, because your frequency is changing, because your healing is evolving you. And It's so important, especially if you are unhappy in your romantic relationships. Listen, and I've been hearing it for days. Do not let your boyfriend keep you from your husband, okay? Do not settle on a relationship because you have a traumatic bond with each other and then expect that to be your dream come true, right? And it's so important that we focus on ourselves, that we heal ourselves, and we attract the vibration that we are looking for and accept what is being presented to us. And we have to have discernment of, you know, taking the time to lean into that energy, right? To see if it is a vibrational match. If it isn't, let it go. Do not let it hinder your process, because no matter what, you have to keep moving. And if you are constantly evolving, you need someone who's going to evolve with you. If you start attaching yourself to people who are not committed to growth, then you will start to become stagnant, because whatever you surround yourself with is what is going to be enhancing the energy around you, right? So you have to have enough conviction and discernment for your own life to make some decisions, and not all of those decisions are going to be easy, but you are not obligated to be in anyone's life, and vice versa. You have control over how your life unfolds. And it's by intention, it's by being impeccable with your word, it's by having faith and leaning into your own energy, taking care of your temple, right? And no matter what, when you're in touch with yourself, you are in touch with God. And that's where faith and optimism and hope and happiness and all the good stuff starts coming in for you. And finally, you know, in a talk this morning, trying to fill a void. Once you start to know yourself and have that connection with your higher power, you'll realize that those voids become less and less. And then finally, you're going to get to that point where you don't feel like you have to search anymore, because you've come home to yourself. Okay? So sometimes that means going against the grain. Sometimes that means going against what people have set out for you. You need to, and this was a conversation I had yesterday, like, no matter what, when you are making decisions for your own life, there are going to be people you disappoint. Okay? But when it comes to disappointment, you have to live with it, right? Like, if you're making decisions for yourself, like, you have to own it. I would much rather other people be disappointed in me than me be disappointed in myself because I didn't follow my truth. So, no matter what choice you make in life, it is something that you have to feel comfortable with. It is something that you are going to have to live with. So choose wisely. Don't choose for other people. Don't choose what other people expect of you. You know, do take it into consideration if these people are a significant part of your life. You know, you don't want to be making decisions that you know are going to hurt other people, and intentionally going and doing things that you know are not in alignment with your highest good, just to spite other people. But you can't live your life for other people, is what I'm saying. Okay? So let's do this healing process together. Okay, so we're going to start with the new birth and guard vigilantly. So just want you to close your eyes and start to relax. Take a nice, big, deep breath. Okay, allow the air to fill your lungs and sink into your space. Focus on your breath for several moments. Allow your focus to come in and out, allowing your breath to take its natural rhythm. Imagine the external world fading away and allow yourself to step into your heart. Bring all of your focus to your heart. As though within you there is a silent, vast, and open space. That space within is peaceful. Sense, see, or feel that deep within. That space, a tender young shoot, is rising out of the earth. With tremendous courage and focus, it has summoned the energy to crack through the seed that once contained its life force. And it is reaching directly up towards the light, boldly determined to become a full, mature plant. Imagine that you are joyfully, lovingly, and consciously standing guard over that shoot. From a loving, aware, and strong space, you firmly move on any big muddy boots that would step on it, or any devouring insects that look rather interested in that tasty young morsel. You do this easily and effectively while remaining centered in your heart. Around you and the shoot are many beings of unconditional love. These may be ancestors, spiritual guides, beings of light, or angelic beings. You may sense darkness rise and fall around you in the circle of light created by your love and the beings supporting you to protect this tender young shoot. You can notice that rise and fall of darkness whilst remaining calm, centered, and detached in your heart as you focus your love on the young plant. Watch it respond and grow strong. All is well. You may whisper to it, "You are safe, and you will grow strong and thrive." Through unconditional love, so be it. With your hand on your heart, say out loud, "I surrender all my relationships into unconditional love," and ask that the truly nourishing, soul enriching, expansive, and nurturing relationships be healed and drawn closer to my heart. I ask that the draining, depleting, destructive, or toxic relationships be drawn out of my life through unconditional love, mercy, grace, and my own free will. So be it. Imagine that you can breathe golden light in through the front of your body and out through the back of your body. You can repeat this process with a rich emerald green light. Don't worry if you can't feel or see the light, just intend to work with the light and relax. Visualize, perceive, or see a beautiful beating heart with luminous green and gold parrot wings on either side of it. Imagine, perceive, or feel that there are many other beautiful beating hearts with parrot wings of different colors, and they are all flying around together. Enjoy the playfulness of this vision, and in your own time, you will come back to the here and now. You can feel the air on your skin. Notice the temperature of the air around you. And if you ever feel any anxiety or fear about your new life or the conscious connections that are coming in, know that you in this new life will be able to sustain itself and become strong. There is no need for worry. Just treat your feelings as an intuitive sign that this healing process will be helpful for you, and you can repeat it. You can do this daily, or you can do this weekly, as if you were going through a particularly vulnerable period in your life. It will never do you any harm. It will only ever support you. You are safe, and you will grow strong and thrive through unconditional love. So be it. And once again, I surrender all my relationships into unconditional love and ask that the truly nourishing, soul enriching, expansive, and nourishing relationships be healed and drawn closer to my heart. I ask that the draining, depleting, destructive, or toxic relationships be drawn out of my life through unconditional love, mercy, grace, and my own free will. So be it. And I want you to take another long, deep breath, sinking into that heart space once more. Tell your seedling and your shoot, thank you for growing. Thank you for trusting in me. Thank you for allowing me to protect and nurture you. And any time that you feel anxiety, worry, or stress about how your life is unfolding, come back to this space in your heart. Come back to this space of stillness and tend to your own garden. And when you're ready, I want you to become more aware of your surroundings. Feel the space that is supporting you. Bring some movement to your fingers and your toes. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes, wide awake and aware of your present moment. And take this energy with you and thrive through the day. Make some bold moves. Maybe make some decisions that will nurture the seed that you have planted. And if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel stressed, take a breather, take a pause, and thank yourself for showing up today. I love you guys so much. I hope this message finds you well. If you enjoy these messages today, make sure to like, share, subscribe, drop me a comment, let me know how it resonates with you, and I will talk to all of you soon. God bless.